Yesterday we have seen about the various methods inside a class, right? Then we have passed one object into another class. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
I think there is some problem with the network or with the, I don't know, with the GoToMeeting server itself. I don't know. Okay,
Okay.
let us continue. Are you able to hear now clearly?
Yes.
Okay. So yesterday what we have seen about the various methods inside a
Three
class.
types of
Uh,
method.
then we have seen about the how to pass an object from one class to another class. Right?
Yeah, interaction between two classes.
Interaction between two classes. We have seen two objects of it to class. Then today we will talk about a few examples. Then we will talk about the getter and setter methods inside a class. Then we will see about inner classes. If possible, we will see the inheritance also. Basics, at least basics we will cover. Because inheritance itself will take 2 classes, I think. 2 sessions it will take. So at least today we will try to
Okay.
basics. What do you know about inheritance? From your
Inheritance is like there is a parent class, child class will inherit the features of parent class.
So using inheritance, we'll use the parent class methods and attributes. So there is no need to rewrite. Suppose if you want to rewrite also, we can override the methods of a parent class and implement our own logic in the child class. So there are 3 types of inheritance. So we'll all cover maybe in 2 sessions. Okay. So I will refresh the things whatever we have learned so far with an example.
Okay.
So this is one in this example I have covered everything whatever we have discussed about each variable, how to assign, how to declare, and then what are the various methods we have discussed so far. So this is the instance method, this is the class method, this is the static method, how to access which variable from which method. This covers everything.
Okay.
So these are student class, right? What is the first variable count? What is the type of variable?
It's a class variable.
Class variable, right? So what are the various places I can declare class variables? Where are the various places I have declared here? What are the other places I can declare a class variable? Declare and assign a class variable?
Inside methods, class methods.
Inside class method. So inside class method, what is the class variable here? This is a class variable, right?
Student.
What happened? It is shaking again.
What are you showing? No, it is stuck. I mean, okay, now I can see. I think there is a delay in video also.
Okay, shall I reconnect to another net? I don't know. Maybe net Wi-Fi problem is there. I don't know. Okay, anyway, now you are able to see, no?
Yes.
This is a class method, right? You have just told me that I can declare a class variable inside a class method, right? So I have declared here two class
Yes.
variables. One is student, one is class variable 3, and second one is class variable 4. So inside a class method, how I can access
Yes.
class variables? Either by using the class name student, right? Student of
Class name or
CLS variable, because always this method is expecting first argument as a CLS variable. Okay, whenever we try to access this method, Python will automatically put the student as a first argument and send it to this method, class method. Since it is we have declared it as a class method, it is always expecting first argument as a class only, class itself. So we can access through student directly using class name, or we can access by using CLS variable. Okay, so here we have declared two inside a class method. Where are the other locations we can declare? Inside init method can we declare?
Yes.
Inside init method we can declare. Here I have declared class variable 1 by using the class name. Okay, why I cannot use the CLS
Class name.
CLS variable cannot be used here? Because there is no CLS argument. Here only we have self argument we will receive, because this is an instance method. We will not be able to use CLS variable. We have to use compulsory class name only to declare a class variable. Correct?
Yes.
Now second, this is also a general method only, like instance method only, right? Display. So inside display also I have declared class variable 2 using the class name. Okay.
Yes.
Next, class method we have already discussed, variable 3 and variable 4. Can I do it in static method? Can I declare a class variable in static method?
No.
No, I can declare, but I have to use the class name only. Okay, it will allow, but normally not programmatically we will not do it. Okay, since we have discussed used at static method explicitly, it will not pass on CLS variable, or Python will not pass on CLS variable nor self variable. But it is not a rule that we cannot declare, but normally generally 99% will not declare, because there are so many other places where we can declare class variables. But since I am showing it, because we can declare it here also. Okay, class variable 5, normally we will not declare it here. We will use only utility method related things here inside a static method. Okay, it is not a good thing to do to declare a class variable inside a static method normally. Okay, but there is a possibility that we can declare from here.
Okay.
Understood? Now what we have to discuss? Instance variables we have to discuss. Instance variables where I can declare and assign it. Can I declare inside init method?
Inside yes.
Because it
init method is an instance.
Correct. Init method is a automatic method which will be run. So we will always most probably with the init method only to declare and assign our instance variables. What is the argument? It is self. So we will always use self variable inside a init method to declare our instance variables. Right? Correct? Can we use
Yes.
s1 suppose object name here s1 dot name equal to name like that? No, because
Not inside the
inside the init method we are not passing any argument like s1 s2, right? We are only passing self. Self can take any number, any type of object, right?
yeah.
s1 s2 s2, it is a general way of representing self. That's why we will access only using self inside instance methods. All the instance variables we can declare, we can access. Suppose in this print statement here we have used what? Self, right? Because we have only self argument here. Understood?
Yes.
Now inside the display method is also a instance method because I have not declared it as a class or static. So by default it is a instance method. So instance method I have declared one more variable like age. Age is a instance variable. Using self I have declared here. Understood? So while printing also I have to use self.name, self.roll number, self.age only. I cannot directly put the object reference here. Object reference I can use outside the class only.
Yes.
So class method can I declare? No, because it is a CLS arguments only we are passing, not self, correct? So
Yes.
what are the places I can declare the instance variables inside a class? Only init method and other instance methods, right? Understood?
Yes.
Next, local variables. Where can I declare a local variable? Anywhere I can declare a local variable.
Inside static method.
Inside any method I can declare a local variable. Suppose this name is a local to this init method, right? Understood? This roll number is a local. Self dot roll number is an instance variable. Okay, understood? But name, whatever the argument name parameter is there, this is a local to the init. Understood? Any problem is there in declaring this as a local variable?
No.
No, correct. You understood, right? This self dot name is a instance variable, but this name is a local variable to the init method, right? Like that, I can have anywhere.
Yes.
Okay, inside static method also I have. Inside static method normally 99% we have local variables only. Okay, or we will use the import methods to load other modules inside this. So normally this a and b is the local to this static method sum. Okay, so now you understood how to access the each method. Now you understood about the variables, instance and then class and then local variables. Now how to access a particular method? Tell me. So how to access a particular method? First of all we have to create the objects, right? Then only I can access the instance method.
Object.
So here I have given three student objects, created three student objects, right? By passing the name and roll numbers. Because inside init method we have only two parameters, name and roll number. So I have to pass those two only. Self will be automatically passed when it create this object, right? Now what are the various ways to call the instance methods?
Yes.
Suppose I want to call the instance method.
Using instance.
Like this. Using object reference s1.disp. What are the arguments I have passed? Age 10. So inside this we have created that self.age, self comma age. So age we have to pass on while calling this display instance method, right? So outside a class we can access a instance method using the object reference. Correct?
Yes.
What are the parameters I have to pass? Whatever the parameters I have declared at the time of creation of a method, same parameters, same we have to pass as an arguments, right? So here I pass it only, it is one argument, we have passed one argument here. Okay, next one. Can I use a class name to call the instance method?
Yes.
Yes, but what I have to pass? Instead of one parameter, here in the first method s1.display, s1 is automatically being passed by the Python, correct? Virtual machine. But in the second case, when you use the student.disp, this s1 is not automatically passed on. So we have to give s1 parameter also. Okay, understood the difference between these two methods?
Yes.
One by using the object reference, second one by using the class name. While we are using the class name, we have to compulsory pass on the object reference also as a argument. Otherwise, it will give out error, right? Now we have discussed about the instance method accessing. Now how to call the class method from outside the class?
Class method using a class name.
For class method, is there any necessity for us to create an object?
No.
No, right? That's why we put those things which we don't require as a inside a class method. So we can compulsory use a class name and display too. Okay, this method is accepting any parameters. See here, display to is accepting any other parameters other than class? No, right?
No.
Can you see it here? CLS only, we have put only CLS, right? No other parameters are there.
Yes.
So what we have to do, while calling that method, we don't need to pass on any arguments because student.display will be automatically passed on because this is a class method and we are using the class name. We don't require to pass student, but while same logic as an instance, because this is an instance method, we are using instance variable here, object reference, we don't require to pass on. Like that same logic, since we are calling the class method while using the class name, while calling with the help of class name, we don't require to pass anything, right? CLS will be automatically taken and passed as an argument. Like CLS means here it will be taken as student, right? This student will be automatically passed on to this CLS variable. There is no need to declare specifically inside the parameter list. Understood, right?
Yes.
Can we access this class method? Since it is a class method, can we access this using the object reference?
Yes.
Yes, we can do it also. But before that, we have to create the objects. Then using the object reference, we can call it simple s1.display2. Here also there is no need to pass any arguments. S1 will be automatically converted to student.disp2 and then it will call that method. Okay, understood? Suppose if you have created any at the time of creation of this class method, if you have put any other arguments like name like that, then we have to pass compulsory one argument in both methods. So here we have put only CLS. We don't need to pass any parameters, just like empty parenthesis we can call the class method, right? So finally, to call the static method is a class level only, right? We don't require any object, right?
Right.
You can use a class name. Class name is student dot, what is the method name? Sum. What are the arguments it is expecting? It is expecting two arguments, a comma b. So we have to compulsory pass two arguments while using student, that means class name or object reference. In both cases, we have to pass 2 arguments, as it is expecting 2 arguments, right?
Yes.
Now, so many, if you run, output will be diffuse. Okay. Anyway, this is the purpose of this example is where we can declare various variables and how to call various methods. That is the only purpose. Okay. Now you can see if you want later. Okay. There are so many outputs are there. No, understood this example, right? Anywhere any doubts are there for you?
No doubt.
Okay, then I will close this example then. Here we will see one example regarding the communication between various classes. Okay. Can you see it now? What we have one robo class here. Okay. And then second class is person class, right?
Okay.
So each person object will control one robo object, and how this robo object will take the command from the person we will see in this example, right? This example is for how to communicate, how communication happens between two classes, two class objects, right? Here what are the variables we have declared inside the init method? Name, color and weight of the robo, right? This is a robo class we have declared as a robo class. These are the instance variables, name, color and weight. Next, what are the methods we have declared inside this? We have declared only instance methods. You can see, because all are having general methods only, no explicit declaration, and all are accepting self parameters. So what are the methods inside this robo? Introduce self, then run and walk. Okay, these are the methods we are using. Next, person row. The person, what are the various instance variables?
N and O.
Name and robot owner. Okay, N and O are the local to this init method. Self.name and self.robo owner. Robo owner and name are the variables, instance variables. Now what I have done is I have created one robo object here using the reference R1, right? Next, R2, I have created one more robo. So total 2 robo objects, and second one, total 2 person objects I have created, right? Understood?
Yes.
What are the person objects instance variables?
P1 and P2.
No, those are the object names, right? References. What are the parameters it is taking? What are the instance variables it is taking? Name
and row.
name, and second one is R2 itself. That means robo2 instance. Understood? Robo2 object reference. If you see
Yes.
R2. So first one is owning the first person is owning second robo object. Okay, understood? Second person is
Yes.
owning R1 object, R1 robo. Right? We are passing on the object reference as a instance variable to the person object. Okay, it will go and update here R1 because the first person is name, second person is, it will be automatically taken as a reference variable. Now this attribute will be updated as a R2 and R1 respectively in persons and P1 and P2 objects, right? Now what this statement will do? Now to whom I have to control? I have to control a robo, right? Right? First person can
Yes.
control R2, right? How I have to call that R2 method? Normally R2 dot
R dot method name. What was the method?
robo one dot produce self, right? Normally I have to call like this, right? Here,
Yes.
but R2 is what?
R2 is instance object reference of robot class.
R2 is the who is the owner of R2?
P1.
So I can replace R2 as like R2 equal to P1 dot can I declare, can use like this? R2 equal to P1 dot robo one.
R2 equal to.
Same thing only. Here inside self you have put P1, right? You have passed on P1, right?
Yes.
What is the parameter
Yes.
passed? R2, right? While declaring P1
Yes.
person, while declaring the P1 person initial variables, we are using init method. We have passed like this only. No? This self will be taking P1 automatically, right? So inside the self, it will be P1. So robo owned attribute will be filled with R2 reference only, right? R2 object, right? It is having R2 object. So same thing only I would rearrange it here. R2 equal to P1 robot one, right? I can do it.
Yes.
P1 dot robo owned instance variable as R2 value. It is referring R2, same as R2. Understood? So this method, while calling with R2, I can replace R2 as P1 dot robot owned. Correct? I can replace.
Yes.
Correct? That is the thing only I have took here. Instead of R2 directly calling R2 method, because this person has to control, right? Person object has to control that one, not the directly robo has to control. Robo can control itself by calling using the object reference of its robo, but person has to control that. Person object has to control robo means I have to use the person reference, right? Person object reference. So I am using person object reference instead of R2. I am replacing it with P1 dot object robot owned. Understood? So I will delete these two now. So P1 dot robo owned introduce self will, I can call that method. Instead of R2, I can call the P1 dot robo owned introduce self method, right?
Yes.
Same thing, I can call other methods also, run and wait also using P1 reference. P1 dot robo owned dot run.
Yes.
But here these run methods are created with some other name also. It is taking some other as an argument. So I have to pass on that other argument also, right? Not only self. While calling this run method, self will automatically updated, but other will not be updated, right? So other we have to pass. What we are passing other we are passing as the person object, right? That means we are passing one object reference to other object reference. Understood? Till here you have understood? Why
Yes.
replace R2 with P1 dot robot 1?
Can you send me this in my mail, because I can't see everything together, so I don't I don't know what functions are there before that, so that's what is confusing me.
I will just send this one.
Okay.
Or else can you chat here? You know how to send by chat? I can attach a file. Huh?
There is chat here.
I
At
think
the top there is one icon. I don't know whether you can send the file or not.
you got the mail or
Not yet. I got it.
it will open in a Word file like that. I think it will not be like this. Text file only it will be opening.
Okay. It's not opening. Okay. I'm trying to open it in mobile so that I can see both together. I'll check. Okay, I'll open my phone. Okay.
Now you can see.
Yes.
So up to this person object creation, you understood, right? Person object we have passed on
Yes.
row object as a reference, as a row object as a value attribute. P1 dot robo, here self correct, I've changed it. Okay, so in the inside this attribute we are passing the robo object, correct? Up to this
Yes.
point you understood, right? So we are passing one
Yes.
object reference to the attribute of another object, right? So from person object I am trying to access this robo objects methods, right? So how to do it? Only one link is there. I have an attribute as robo owned, so that using that robo owned attribute I can call the methods of robo, correct? Suppose if I have to call
Yes.
robo object, I will call like this: r2 dash r2 dot can I call like this r2 dot introducer directly, right? Because it is an object related to a robo, right? But my r2 is same as p1 dot robo1, right? Because I have updated my attribute of p1 object robo1 with the r2 while creation. Understood?
Yes.
So this I can use this line, you understood?
Yes.
So in the first introduce self, instead of r2 I can put p1 dot robo1. So same, that's what I put in this third line, p1 dot robo1. So I am calling the robo method using the person reference, person object reference, p1 dot robo1.
Okay.
Second method also p1 dot robo1 dot run method also I called using the p1 reference. What I'm
Okay.
is instead of object reference calling that own method, I am using the persons. That means I am able to control another robot to person object. So what is the attribute I have to use here to control the other robo? I have to use p1 dot robo owned only, because at the time of creation I passed on that robo object to this p1 and p2 like this.
Yes.
So I have only that link is there to control the other class methods, right? So I used that link to call this both these methods. Now I'll comment out these two. These two are not required for us, only for understanding purpose I have put. Okay. Now
Okay.
second method, while calling run, what is there any parameters it is asking? Run method?
Yes.
Other variable also there. We have to pass other variable also, because other variable is linked to other dot name of person. So I have to pass the person's name like self. This is also an object reference variable only. So it is referring two objects. One is self. That means one is the robo itself. Another one is the second person object. So this p1 dot robo owned dot run, when I call this method, what reference will be automatically passed by default by Python? R2.
R2.
R2 will be passed automatically. So in place of other, I have to pass P1. Understood?
Yes.
Why we have to pass P1? I will show in the output when we print the output. Then we will understand. So for now, we are passing one object reference variable like that, you understood. So since it is asking for one parameter like other, okay. Even in the walk also, it is asking for one parameter, one reference variable. So even in the walk also, p1 will be passed as in to other parameter, and r2 will be passed automatically with
Yes.
Python. Okay, Python virtual machine. Similarly, this is for second person robo. Okay, understood? R1. This will be replaced with R1, right?
Understood.
Understood, right? So
Yeah.
why I have passed p2, I will explain now. While printing the output, Now you open in the mobile.
Yes.
In the mobile, you see the that run method of robo. What I have written there?
Yeah. I name the robo is running now on a command received from my owner.
Other dot
Self.name and other dot name.
in self dot name. What will be updated? Jerry, name of that robo.
Name of
Other dot name, what will be updated? Other, what we have passed?
passed as P1 or P2. Yeah.
P1 or P2. So in the first case we have passed P1, right? P1 dot name,
Yes.
what is the attribute Python virtual machine will take? P1 dot name is
P1 dot name is power.
Pavan. This is the P1 dot name. Here we have updated while created. So that's why we have passed on the object reference here to call the attributes. Understood? I can
Yes.
pass anything in place of others, but what is my purpose? I have to print my output. I have to give command to the robo, and I have to print like this. So I have passed the person object while calling that run and walk methods of robo. Correct?
Yeah.
Understood? So in this way, I can declare attributes with other class objects, and then I can pass on one class objects to other class objects, right?
Yes.
So while declaring these class attributes, I have declared with this object reference, and also while calling the other class methods, I have used the another class reference. Here I am calling the methods of robo, right? While calling the methods of robo, I have used the person object as a reference. I have passed on the person object as a reference. So in this way,
Yes.
objects of one class will communicate with the objects of another class, right? So this
Yes.
is a small example only, but normally we will have many classes communicating with the many objects at the same time in real world. Okay, this is only one object is communicating. Okay. Now what we have completed? We completed the objects and variable examples, then robo example. Now we will see the getter and setter methods. Okay.
Okay.
What are the setter and getter methods? These are the instance methods of a class. Okay.
Okay.
What is its purpose? What is the purpose? To set the instance variables and to get the what is the value inside the instance variables. These methods will be helpful, but why these methods are required when you have init method, when we have other methods also? In the first example we have seen where we can declare and assign instance variables. There are lot places in it. All the general methods we can use to declare the instance variables, but why do we need to declare inside a getter and setter methods? Why we have to use these methods? I can do it inside in init method, right? I can do inside any
For protection, data protection.
in future we will see the access specifiers. Even the Python don't have like a private public, but it will still have private mode. Like if we pass on the variables before the name of the variable with the 2 underscores, like name, then it means it is a private attribute, right? Understood? Till now we have not passed on
Yeah.
2 underscores before any name of any variable. If we pass on like this is a private attribute of a class. Understood? So to access that particular attribute, we cannot be able to initialize it from outside of any constructor like that, from outside of the class. So from inside class only we have to access those variables. Understood? Normally what we have
Yes.
in this constructor is there. Suppose this is a student object, right? Student object creation, right?
Yes.
What we are doing, we are trying to initialize it from outside the class, right?
Yes.
These are public method. By default, all these are public attributes. So we are able to do it. But when we are treating that as a private attribute, we will not be able to do it from outside the class. At that time, what we have to do, we have to use these getter and setter methods, okay, to initialize those variables, instance variables, instead of at the time of construction itself. So those private variables, private attributes can be accessed, can be initialized in the getter and setter methods only, not from outside the class. Because they are not accessible from outside the class, we cannot initialize it. Okay, we will get error if you try to access those parameters. So some important data will be there where we will not be able to show it to outside, like bank account number, bank account details, balance and all, bank balance and all. So inside methods we are using to set those values and to get those values also. So those methods we will see now how to do it. Okay, what I am doing is, by using this method I am setting the value of a name attribute. Okay, that name is a private attribute. Understood? Okay, I'm just showing the methods here, not full class. Okay,
Okay.
I'm taking the part of that. Okay, so these are the some of the few method examples of get and set. Suppose in my example, the name and marks are private attributes. So I cannot initialize this using normal methods like init method. Okay. So what I will do, I will declare one set name method inside my class for each attribute. Okay, or otherwise I can pass on like this also, marks. Okay, anything I can do. Okay, here I have declared two set methods, set marks and set name. Inside methods can access the private methods, right? Private variables, right? Whether
Yes.
private methods, private attributes can be accessed by inside methods or not. Inside a class we can access. Outside a class
Yes.
we cannot access private attributes. So using
Right.
the set name and set marks method, I am taking the marks from while calling. I am taking the name attributes. Understood? As a local to this method, and I'm assigning that name to the instance variable, private instance variable. Understood? I'm calling this
Yes.
name. I will pass on this name as a local to this method. Using that local name, I am assigning it to the instance variable, private instance variable of that object self. Whatever the self we are passing for that object, it will be updated, right? Same as marks. Marks also will be updated like this. So I can now put the private attributes values from inside a class, right? Now I want to read the attribute values. Normally I will from outside the class I will use the object reference dot that attribute name, right? But since this is a private method, I cannot do that directly. So in that case, what I have to use, I am using the get methods here. So get methods are returning, it is not doing anything, only it is returning the attribute to me. When I am calling this get method outside a class, it will simply return me the name of the person, private person, private attribute. Okay, want to know this concept, what we are
Yes.
doing in case of private attributes with the help of the set and get methods. These are called set and get methods. Okay, now since we have spoke about the set and get methods, now we will see the inner class. What is an inner class? Inner classes? Any doubts are there in get and set method?
No.
Not only private, any instance variables we can set like that, but normally we will use it for private attributes. So we can say we can set and get all the instance variables, but normally we will use it in case of private attributes. Okay, inner classes means a class inside another class. Those are called inner class. Understood? Where we use inner class? Suppose in our classes, whatever we have defined so far, there is no other class inside any class, right? Only one class is there. Where are the cases where we use the inner class concept?
Not sure.
without the existing of one object. In such cases, we use inner classes. Right? Suppose there is one object is there. Without the one, suppose there is one class, car is there. So engine and car, there are two classes are there. Car and engine. Can engine class exist without the car class? Can engine object exist without car class?
No.
But these two to communicate, there should be a car object also, right? Car class also.
Yes.
So by car object can be existing independently without engine, but engine object when we are creating, we should have the car class, right? Car object also to communicate between those two. So in such cases, what we'll do, we'll put the car as an enclosing class and engine class as a inside inner class, right? So when creation of the engine object, we should have a car object by default should be ready. How it will be ready, I will show you. You understood this point, right? Without the existence of one object, there is no chance of existence of another class object, right? Then in such cases, we use the concept of inner. So engine class object will not exist unless there is a car class object. In such cases, we use the inner classes, right? Suppose I'll show you like this. Suppose this outer class, right? Car is an outer class only, right? Here in our example,
Yes.
this is the init method for the car class. This is the inner class. That means engine class, which is inside a outer, right? By giving the indentation, I am showing that this is a part
Yeah.
outer.
Okay.
This is a method inside the inner class. Self M1 is a method inside a inner class. So now I came out of the class, outer class. Sorry, here it should be caps. So outer, inner also should be cap. What I have done here, I have created an outer class object, right?
Yes.
Suppose this outer class object is not there. I can do it like this.
I don't think so. No.
Because the outer class object itself is not there, it is not accessible, right? Even before the creation of
Yes.
the class. So first of all, in such cases, I have to put those class inside the another enclosing class if those things are related like car and engine. So first I have to create an outer class object. Understood? Then outer class object I have to use normally we'll not use out dot inner, right? We'll put in dot in equal to inner constructor, right? Normally we put like this only to create inner object, right? General inner, general if it is a general inner, not the part of outer, okay? But in this case we have to use the object reference and then call this constructor, right? Understood, right? We have to put out dot inner. Out is an object reference of a outer class, and we are creating inner class object here with reference in. Understood?
Yes.
Now I have to call inner method m1. What I have to use? I can use like this
IN.
in dot m1, right?
Yes.
So these are the ways I can create an object of inner class, and then using that reference I can call the inner method only if the outer object is existed, outer class object is existed. Without the existence of outer class object, if the inner class is not there, okay, then we will put those classes as a enclosing classes, one like inner inside a outer enclosure, and we create that outer object, then we will create the inner object, right? So in this case,
Yes.
so if we have cases like car and object, right? And then university and department, so those two things are also related, right? So without the existence of university, there is no point of having a department, right? So in such cases also we
Yes.
the inner class concept. So first we will create the outer class object. Using the outer class object reference, we'll create the inner class objects, right? Suppose sorry, here in should be capital letter, okay? I can do like this to create an inner class object directly in one single step.
Maybe.
Here if you see out out reference is equal to when we are used the outer class constructor, right?
Yes.
So here in the second place, if we replace the out reference variable with the outer class constructor, this line will be found, right? We can call like this also to create a inner class object, right?
Yes.
Understood? This is the case 2. Now after creating, I can call the inner method, right? In dot m1, right? In the case 2. Now suppose all these things I can do it in one line. UTR inner dot m1 method. Case 3. To create inner class, call the inner class method m1 in one step, in one statement, right? I can do this method also, third case also, right? Simply replace in dot m1.
Yes.
In here in means outer constructor dot inner constructor, right? So I simply replaced that in with
Yes.
outer, and then we called using dot operator that method. All these three things are same only. So now understood where we are using the inner classes, and then how to we have to create the object of inner class, right?
Yes.
Now what we have to see now today, how to delete variables of a class. Now till now we have initialized now all the classes, all the instance variables, right? For that we have to use delete keyword. Okay, suppose I want to delete a instance variable, right? I can use object reference dot that variable name. Understood? Understood this?
Yes.
So what I have to do, normally while initializing, I will use the object reference, right? S1 dot name, student1 dot name, like that, no? Same thing. Before that we have
Yes.
used one delete keyword, del keyword. Then this object reference dot whatever the object reference and this attribute will be deleted. So this variable name will be deleted after using this statement, right? So suppose I have to do inside a class, what I have to do, Correct. Inside I cannot access object reference, right? I have to use only self word, right? So del self dot variable name, self dot that variable name I can use to delete that particular variable from a class. Understood?
Yes.
Suppose if it is a class variable, how to do it? Delete, then class name,
Class.
then variable name. Correct? That is over now to delete the class variable.
Yes.
Is there any case, other case? CLS variable. Understood the fourth point? Fourth point, CLS variable. I can suppose it is a variable, class variable. Suppose I want to delete the class variable from within the CLS class method. CLS means class method only, right? I have class method CLS parameter inside a class method, right? I can use the CLS dot variable name. Suppose count is the class variable in our most examples, right? So I can use CLS dot count. Before that I have to put del keyword, so it will delete the count variable, class variable from the class. So in this way we can delete the instance and class variables, right?
Yes.
So next we'll talk about the garbage collection. What is a garbage collection heap?
Once we have used the object reference,
Where objects will be created inside memory. EVM will create object inside garbage. Already I think we have discussed this one once at the time of reference variable discussion. Collectible heap. There is one memory location where it will have access to when we install the Python. So in that is called a garbage collectible heap. Okay, in that location it will create all the objects, but that memory address where we will put inside the reference variable, right? So the address of the garbage collectible heap, that means where that object is created, that specific address is stored inside the object reference variable, right? But the physical virtual location of the objects are in the garbage collectible heap only. Understood? So
okay.
to delete the object from this heap, so that process is called garbage collection. Okay, when there are no references to that particular object, what it will do is it will remove the object to clear out the memory space for us. Otherwise, if there is no garbage collection, means our memory will be filled up with all the objects created. If we are not deleting, means if suppose it is a web application, we will not be able to access further. Okay, so the process of garbage collection is continuous and it should be done whenever there is no reference to that particular object. Okay, it is automatic.
Yes.
So unlike C++, we don't need to initiate or like this. It is automatic process.
Okay.
So the object does not have any references. So if there is no reference for that, it is ready for a deletion from the memory and ready for a garbage collection. Okay, Python will delete that object from the memory. Okay. Now understand what is meant by garbage collection, right?
Yes.
Now we will see about destructor method inside a class. So what is this destructor method? We have seen construction method, right? And
Yes.
this is the opposite of the constructor. Constructor method where we have constructed the instance variables, right? Using automatically. This destructor method also will be run automatically when all the reference variables to a particular object created are over. That means there are no references of that object. There is a class means when we have created objects, there will be a counter activated. Suppose I have created 10 objects outside of this class. Okay, suppose it is a student class. I have created 10 student objects. Then there are 10 references, right? There will be counter activated inside Python which shows 10. So each time that reference variable I have used up, that means I have run through, the timer will be reduced by 1. So first object is created, I have used that object, I am not using that reference. Suppose S1 reference I am not using anywhere inside my program. Okay, so counter will be reduced by 1. So now my the timer will be counter will be shown as 9 only. At the time of initial creation I have 10 references, suppose. Okay, the counter will be set to 10. Suppose S1 I have already run through, used up. There is no more S1 references in my program anywhere. What will do? Counter will be reduced to 9 automatically by PVM. So references are over in my program. PVM will be checking line by line, so it will be seeing whether there are any other S1 references in my program. If suppose if there are no S1 references, it will reduce the count automatically to 9. Understood?
Yes.
So at the time of creation of object, it will check how many places we have used those references. Suppose if we have used those references 20 times, suppose this S1 I used 20 times. Understood? So each time S1 is passed on, this count will be reduced to 19, 18, 17 like that. Suppose all the references are over, it will be, the timer will be reset to 0. That means virtual machine thinks that there is no requirement of this object now. Understood? Then it will automatically call the destructor method inside that one. It will call the destructor method inside that one. Then it will delete the whatever the connections are there inside with that method, with that object. Once destruction method is over, then garbage collection, Python virtual machine, what it will do, it will activate this garbage collection to delete the object from memory. This destructor method will not do any deletion. It will just give an indication that the timer that count is over. Now, if it will do anything like if it is connected to any database like that, it will reset that connections and all. Once it reset that connections, it will inform Python virtual machine that the destructor method run is over. Then garbage collection, what it will do, PVM will do the object deletion, not the destructor method. Destructor method only will reset all the connections. Okay, it will only indicate that references are over. Object deletion will be done by the virtual machine only. Understood the difference between the destructor method and garbage collection? I will do like this, otherwise is a special method. We will not use this destructor method in program, right? No need to worry. While writing only concept you understood. So when object references are
Yes.
over, what it will do, it will automatically call the destructor method inside that class, whatever it is there. Then it will reset all the connections. Suppose there will be a connection to the database, it will reset those connections. Then after that destructor method execution is over, the PVM what it will do, it will delete the object. Before running this destruction method, it will not delete. Once a destruction method is executed, then only it will delete the object from the memory. So it is a special method like constructor. Just before deleting an object from memory or from heap, destructor method automatically. Reset activities or cleanup activities. You can call it cleanup activities also. Closing the database connection, etc. Once the execution of destruction method is over, virtual machine will remove the object from the heap. So what is it doing? So its role is only to do the reset activities, but not the actual deletion of object. Understood, right? Its role is only to do the reset. Every time references timer that counter is reset to 0, then PVM will call this constructor method automatically, like destructor method automatically. Like it, in case of creation of object, the construction method init method is called. Like that, it will be called. It will whatever the implementation is there inside the destructor method, like activities like cleanup, activities like database connection reset and all, it will do. Then once that execution is over, what that PVM will do the actual deletion. actual decision of object. This is a process that will happen inside the object memory heap. Okay. Now we will talk about the inheritance. Okay. This is a huge topic. It will take 2 days minimum. Okay. We will complete the basics
Oh,
today. Class can have all the attributes, can have access. And methods of a derived class or parent class. So what is it means inheritance? Without writing any method inside a child class, or without writing any attributes, without activating any attributes of a inside a child class, we can have all those things ready made available to the child class using the concept of the inheritance. Okay, suppose we have attributes like name and age. Those attributes will be automatically passed on to the child class also, objects also, right? Even if there are any methods, important methods are there, all those methods will be passed on to this child class. Suppose in the child
yes.
class, whatever the methods we have written inside parent class, if you don't want those methods, okay, but suppose m1 method is there in the parent class, I want to use the same name m1, but I don't want whatever the logic or implementation inside it. I can rewrite my logic. Understood? When I called m1 method on a child class, it will be running the m1 method of child class. Understood?
Yes.
If suppose if I not written any m1 method, rewritten any m1 method, it will go to the parent class and check whether the m1 method is there inside the parent class. If it is there, it will run the m1 method from that class. That is called if we are overwriting, that is called method overriding. Okay, understood the method overriding, right? If you want, suppose
Yes.
one method is there in parent class, I don't want that implementation. I want to rewrite my implementation with the same name, same m1. So I can write a new method m1 inside the child class with a new implementation. Once I call this method, it will write this is called method overriding, and once I call this from a child class, it will, this method m1 is run, not the parent class m1. Okay, so how many type of inheritance are there? So without rewriting, all my attributes and methods are available to the child class. So that is the advantage only, right? Inheritance of concept, advantage of the inheritance
Yes.
concept, right? So now we will see the what are the types of inheritance. What are the types of inheritance we have? Can you tell me how many classes I can derive from one? So I can have, suppose I am a child class, I can have one parent class, right? Where
Yes.
I have derived all my attributes and methods, right? So single inheritance. Okay, suppose I am the child class, I have inherited the methods and attributes from two classes. Say P1 and P2, parent class 1 and parent class 2. I have inherited from both the classes. That type of inheritance are called multiple inheritances. Multiple. So multiple inheritance. There is one third type, multi-level. Multi-level means, suppose I have inherited, I am a child class. I am inherited from some parent class, right? That is single inheritance. Okay, suppose there is some other child class which is inheriting from me. Understood? Not from
Yes.
the main parent, from me, from my child. So what is that class? It is a multi-level only, right? Suppose
Yes.
this is a multi-level inheritance, right? Suppose from parent class, this A class is derived, right? From this A class, this B class derived. Understood? So this B class is
Yes.
all the attributes from parent class and A class both. Suppose if some attributes are different from parent class inside A class, so those attributes also will be inherited to this B class. So such type of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. Suppose I have parent class 1, parent class 2. This is class A. Suppose I have two parent classes, parent class 1 and parent class 2. This is my derived class, A class, child class, okay, which is derived from the
Okay.
parent 1 and parent 2. What is the type of this inheritance? It is called multiple. That means it will have the attributes from both parent 1 and parent 2, right? Now understood the difference between multi-level and multiple?
Yes.
Single means anyway you already know. Suppose if these two are there, it is single level inheritance. So here A class is derived is from parent class, okay, one parent class. So here there is only one level. That is why it is called single level inheritance. Here we have multiple levels, so it is called multi-level. Here we have multiple parent classes, so that is why it is called multiple inheritance. So this is the basic of the inheritance. Tomorrow we will see each inheritance with the respective example. Okay, we will close it for today then. Okay, hello.
Sure.
Okay, okay then, bye.